And we're back with Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, Concrete Jungle, Part 20. When we left off, Q ran into a blast from his past at the Salvation Center of Dallas. Regina found the PI assigned to Tracy in Deuce's house deceased in his car, and when she tried to make an SOS call to Q, the call was interrupted. Q arrived to Deuce and Tracy's house, prepared for whatever. He breached the back door, ear hustling on a heated discussion being held in the den. He hears a man say to Deuce, "Don't play with me, nigga. I know you and old girl conspired with Veronica to steal our money. Now tell us where it is if you want to save your girl and your baby." He heard Deuce reply in a weak voice, "Man, I told you. We turned all that money in when we turned Travis in. Why would we try to keep it?" Whap! Q heard what sounded like somebody being pistol whipped, and he cringed. He heard a woman start screaming, and he used that opportunity to creep closer to the den. From his vantage point, he could see that Deuce and Tracy were tied together in chairs, and Regina was haphazardly tied with her arms behind the back of a chair. Regina was bleeding from the right side of her face, and Deuce was badly beaten in his face and head. Realizing that time was of the essence and he couldn't wait for the police or LJ, Q decided that he was going to have to take action to give either Regina or Deuce a chance to take matters into their own hands. He took aim, shot, and blew the roof off the head of the man who was holding Deuce at gunpoint. The second man, caught completely off guard, had a delayed reaction to the gunshot. The time that it took for him to turn around and return fire gave Q just enough time to take cover behind the built-in bar between the dining room and the kitchen. Unable to return fire out of fear that he might hit one of his friends, Q was forced to remain hidden. When the shooting stopped and the assailant attempted to reload, Q pulled a flashbang from his book bag and threw it. This distraction stunned the second shooter, but it was just what Regina needed to get free. Because she's maintained her flexibility, she was able to turn her arms from the back of her body to the front without being untied. With her arms now tied in the front of her body, she was able to grab a poker from the fireplace and swing it like she was going for a hole-in-one, cleaning the clock of the second assailant, and then she brought it down on his wrist, knocking the gun out of his hand. Just as she grabbed the gun, the front door flew open and DPD came inside. When the scene was cleared, Tracy had to be rushed to the hospital because the stress had sent her into preterm labor. Paramedics were concerned that Deuce had a fractured skull, a concussion, a broken nose, and damage to his left eye. And Regina was riding in a rental car driven by LJ, following an ambulance that was transporting a shot Q to the hospital. Regina made a phone call that she hoped to never have to make. "Papa Andy, hey, it's Regina." At the conclusion of the phone call, Andy knocked on his wife's prayer room and told Miss Bella, "Baby, it's Q. We need to get to the hospital." The Queen Mother jumped up from her knees where she had been praying fervently. She knew that something was wrong. She just didn't know who, what, when, where, or why. But as always, in times of trouble, she went to the Father. And now she was ready to be by her baby boy's bedside. Shortly thereafter, the family gathered in one of the family waiting rooms while Regina ran down everything that happened for the investigators. She told them everything that happened, from the moment that Deuce opened the door to being hit over the head with something, dropping the phone, and waking up tied up inside the house. She told them about witnessing Deuce being beaten by Buns, and she told them about Q coming in, shooting Buns, and her disarming the second assailant. About 30 minutes into the interview, LJ informed officers that Q and his firm had all of the records associated with the investigation and that they would be glad to turn those records over. The entire St. James family, LJ, Regina, and Veronica, waited on pins and needles to hear from surgeons who were working to save Q's life. Thankfully, the DPD had already contacted Deuce's family, and they'd contacted Tracy's, so they all were en route from North Carolina and Pittsburgh to be there to support the couple. The Queen Mother took Regina to the side and said, "Sweetheart, have you called Angela?" Regina said, "No, Queen Bella, I'm trying to wait until I have some news for her. I don't want to call her and tell her that he's been shot, and I don't know what else to say." You call her and you tell her what's going on, and you let her tell you what she needs to know and when, said Miss Bella. Regina took a deep breath and called Angela. Regina said, "Best friend, what you doing?" Angela said, "Nothing. Is everything all right?" Regina said, "No, it's not." Angela said, "What's going on? Is LJ okay? The kids? What's up?" Regina said, "Well, there was a situation today. And Q, he was shot." "Oh my God," Angela said. "Regina, please, please do not tell me that he..." Regina said, "No, best friend, he's alive. He's in surgery. We're still waiting for more information. He's been in there for several hours now, and we're waiting for the doctors to come out." Angela said, "What hospital?" Regina said, "He's at Methodist. It's a level 1 trauma center. They're the best in the area." Angela said, "Okay, I'll be there in a few hours." Click, and hung up the phone on Regina. Angela immediately called Miss Brenda. Miss Brenda answered the phone saying, "Hey, baby, is everything okay?" Angela said, "Mom, Brenda, you're never going to believe this. Q's been shot." Miss Brenda said, "Oh, dear word, is he okay?" Angela said, "I don't know. Regina just called. She said that he's in surgery. He's been in surgery for hours. He's in the hospital in Dallas, and I need to get there, and I need to get there now." Miss Brenda said, "Okay, baby, just calm down. Are you going to leave the kids there in Denver, or do you want..." "Miss Brenda, please, please, I need you to meet me in Dallas. I'm bringing the kids with me." Miss Brenda said, "Okay, baby, just calm down. You go ahead and start packing, and I'll call Bernie and have her come over there to help you and make sure you don't forget anything, okay? But first, I need you to calm down. Take a few deep breaths for me, baby." Angela, near hyperventilating, is like, "Okay, okay, I can't, this can't." Miss Brenda said, "Listen, he is in God's hands. You passing out in that house with those children is not gonna save Q. You need to calm down. Let's pray, baby." Miss Brenda did what she does and prayed heaven down. Angela pulled herself together. They ended the call. Miss Brenda called Bernie. Bernie made it over to Angela's in record time, and together they packed a bag for her and the children. Bernie agreed to contact Melissa's therapist and the school to let them know that there was a family emergency and that they would be out of town, and she would follow up to ensure that Angela received Melissa's schoolwork electronically, and she assured Angela that all would be well with the business in her absence. Angela then called Jeffrey and did something that she had never done in all of the years that she knew about the estate and her inheritance. She chartered a private flight directly to a private airport in Dallas. Her and the children arrived in Dallas in less than 2 hours. Bernie had arranged for a driver to pick them up from the private airport, transport them to the W Hotel, where she checked in, dropped off her luggage, and then proceeded to the hospital. Angela and the children walked into the family waiting room, and all eyes were on them. Regina rushed over and hugged Melissa, took her godson out of Angela's arms, and was immediately enveloped in a huge hug from Angela. Angela said, "Oh my God, best friend, what happened to your face?" Regina said, "Girl, it's a long story, but don't worry about me. I'm fine, I'm fine." Angela asked, "Has there been any word on Q?" Regina said, "The doctor has come out and said that he's doing well, but he's still in surgery. Come on, let me introduce you to his family." Angela looked around the room and was shocked to see Anya, the young lady that she met with at Bedtime. After the introductions, it all clicked. The Queen Mother asked, "Who are these beautiful children?" Angela introduced her daughter, Melissa, and her son, Angel. The Q's family and Veronica stood off to the side, observing the whole scene. Angela and Veronica made eye contact. Angela detected a little salt in the game, so she assumed that Veronica was Q's significant other. Before she could ask LJ or Regina to step with her outside to give her the details of what occurred, she noticed that Anya and Melissa were signing to one another. Angel had gotten down out of Regina's arms, walked over to Anya, climbed up in her lap, and made himself comfortable. And Queen Bella was smiling in approval. Suddenly, the doctor and a nurse walked into the family room and informed them that Q was out of surgery and in recovery. He let them know that he was doing well, he was stable, and as soon as his sedation was lightened, one of them would be able to go in and see him. Since he was admitted as a single person and unmarried, the family would get to decide who that person would be. And the nurse would return when he was ready for the visitor. When the doctor and nurse left, Angela looked at Regina and asked, "What happened?" Regina explained, "Q took a bullet to the chest, saving me, Deuce, Tracy, and their unborn child." Before Angela could respond, her phone rang. Looking at the caller ID, she saw that it was Miss Brenda. The driver had picked her up from the airport, was downstairs outside of the hospital, and ready for her to bring the children down so that she could take them to the hotel. Miss Brenda said, "But first, I need to come up and meet the family." Angela said, "Okay." Angela asked Regina to watch the children while she went down to get Miss Brenda. Angela went down in the elevator, got Miss Brenda, brought her back up to the family waiting room, and when Miss Brenda walked in, she immediately locked eyes with the Queen Mother. Miss Brenda said, "You must be the woman who gave the world Quincy." The two mothers embraced, began to cry, sat down together and hugged, began to pray fervently for Q, and brought the entire room to tears. When the nurse came in to ask who would be going in to see Q, the Queen Mother looked up and said, "Angela."